One of the issues I have with this Beverly shear that is kind of obvious, I think, to most, I'm a little tall for the way it's set up right now. Now, this is not a original factory stand. This is something somebody made along the way, I believe. It looks kind of homemade. There's a plow disc it's sitting on, but when I'm shearing, I like to be right about here. So I want this thing about this tall, and it's a good 18 inches too short right now. We're gonna pull this off the stand, cut the top off. We're gonna rebuild this stand, and then in the process, we're gonna restore our Beverly shear. We're not trying to make it some showpiece for a museum or something. We're just trying to get it in really good shape as a baseline, like any new tool would, and then we'll mess it up over the next 15, 20 years using it. So let's take it apart and start working on it. Now the handle does have some slop when it's on here. I think they all did, but we are gonna work on sleeving this and trying to get that to be a better fit. I probably won't be taking the handle off a ton. I'll probably just leave it on there most of the time. One kind of neat thing about this particular Beverly shear is when you look at the serial number says 1036, and then it has the rest of the numbers 753. Now that's October 1936. The original patent on these was 1932. So this is only 4 years into producing these for the public, at least post patent date. And I'll tell you, one of the craziest things about this is I got a really good buddy. He has the Field of Dreams. You might want to go check out that video if you haven't already, up in Washington. His name's Scott. He has one of these. He picked it up for an incredible deal. His was only $150. I paid 4 times more than that. And that's still cheap. What I paid is still cheap for these. They fetch all the way up to $1,000. You know, they're about $1,400 new. And you'd think, you know, that's kind of crazy, but it's that handy of a tool. And you know, Harbor Freight makes a new one for $150, but the quality difference is astounding. I'll show you guys a side-by-side. I have the Harbor Freight. The cool part is my buddy Scott, his is also made in October 1936. And I believe his is 8 units after this one. So think about the odds of that. 2 guys end up being friends and end up buying 3 states apart. I got mine out of California. He got his out of Idaho. 3 states apart. Beverly shears that are from 1936 from the same month, and they're 8 units apart. So there's an obvious size difference here, in addition to a handful of other things. In 1936, they didn't have what we know today to be the Beverly B1, B2, and B3. What they had was 2 models. This is the bigger of the 2. This is more like a B2.5 is what it adds up to. There's a difference in the profile as well as the size. They also make this really loose from the factory, and that kind of prevents it from needing the machine surfaces, but also rapidly makes the blades catch, chip, and it just doesn't work very well. So right out of the box, one of the first things I did is added a washer here and here inside, and then I added this nut. The Beverly also has a nut there, and that's to keep this from walking out. Now, generally speaking, the Harbor Freight isn't too bad for $150. It's not too bad. I have sharpened this a little bit trying to get these chips out. They're pretty bad chips, though. I don't know that it's salvageable. I don't know that these are correctly hardened from the factory. That being said, you know, you get what you pay for. Everything on this is smaller, looser, weaker. It's not the same caliber by any means. Now, when you are tuning one of these, I'll tell you about dialing in your shear. The way Beverly recommends it is you want to be 1/10 gap between here and here of whatever you're cutting. So for me, where I'll set my throatless shears is I'm going to set them at 1/10 of 18 gauge steel. And I have to get out a feeler gauge to do that, but That's mostly often what I'm cutting, and it's close enough to spec that, you know, you're not going to get any pinching or tipping. But what we're going to do is we are going to pull this one apart. We're going to clean it up. We're going to tune up the edges on the blades just a little bit. We're going to smooth out our machine surfaces, clean all the old grease off, and we're going to put new grease on. And then we're going to sleeve this handle so that the handle doesn't have a bunch of shake. Funny enough, this one has a bunch of looseness to it too. You still do have a nice cast frame. You could machine these surfaces. There's things you can do to get this kind of better and closer. But because we have a real deal Beverly, this is where we're going to put our efforts right now.
wanna tie you up now. I don't wanna do the thing. I don't wanna have you, baby. I just wanna have a fling. I wanna go down, stay, kissing your feet, and you make me crazy. Yeah. Tell me what you wanna do. Give me everything you got. I just wanna try to get you in the mood. I just wanna hit your spot.